How does the book of Job portray the importance of praying in sufferings? Let's find out in this video. I have made several videos on various topics, and the links of those videos are given in the description below. Please don't forget to visit those links. The book of Job is one of the most profound books which talks about human suffering in the Bible, and it places a significance on the role of prayer during the time of intense hardship. How should we pray during the time of intense hardship? The first thing that we learn is communication with God, an honest communication with God. Throughout his suffering, Job models the importance of honesty, raw communication with God. Job does not hide his pain or frustrations. Instead, he expresses his emotions freely. In Job 7:11, he says, "I will not keep silent. I will speak out in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul." Job's candid prayers reveal that God invites us to bring our deepest feelings and questions to him, especially during times of suffering. This teaches us that prayer is not merely about saying the right words, but about bringing our true selves before God, trusting that he can handle our honesty. The book of Job also portrays prayer as a quest for understanding. Job repeatedly turns to God with questions about the reason of his suffering, seeking to make sense of his situation. In Job 13:3, he says, "But I desire to speak to the Almighty and to argue my case with God." Job's persistence in seeking answers through prayer shows that during suffering, prayer becomes a way of seeking wisdom and insight. Although Job doesn't receive the answers he initially desires, his persistence in prayer teaches us that seeking God's perspective through prayer is vital when we are facing unexplainable pain. At the end of the book, the importance of intercessory prayer is highlighted when God instructs Job to pray for his friends. In the book of Job 42:8, God tells Job's friends, "My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer and not deal with you according to your folly." Despite his own suffering, Job prays for his friends is an act of intercession that leads to their restoration. This teaches us that prayer during suffering is not only about our own needs, but also about standing in the gap for others. Job's story underscores prayer's role in restoration. In Job 42:10, it says, "After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before." While Job's suffering was profound and his questions remained unanswered in many ways, his steadfastness in prayer, even when it was difficult, ultimately led us to deep relationship with God and restoration for his life. This teaches us the most important thing. Though you may have 1,000 questions, you have the right to ask God. Even though you don't get those answers, it doesn't mean that God is not going to answer and bring you out of that suffering. Eventually, we see that God didn't answer most of the questions that Job asked, but God eventually delivered Job from that anguish and that pain. So this teaches us that even though we go through the hard times, don't leave God or don't forsake God or don't leave